It was good.
Hi, Michael.
Hi, Leslie.
I would like to thank you for deciding to do this interview with me.
Okay.
And we kind of discussed maybe talking about a hobby that you have. Is that okay with you?
That's wonderful.
Okay, so what would you say is your favorite hobby?
I think my all-time favorite is a type of scuba diving called cave diving. It's not very common. It's a technical type of scuba diving that requires extensive training and things like this. But yeah.
Wow. So how did you come to be interested in such a unique hobby?
It was really interesting. A friend of mine who owns the dive store, I teach scuba diving. I've trained hundreds of divers, and he would bring in video and footage of various trips he was taking around the world and different locations that he dove. And just seeing the difference in the experience and the fascination of the whole environment, being some places that most people never get to see in their lifetime, was fascinating to myself, so I began to talk to him about it and decided to make that step.
So you were a scuba diver first, and you learned how to do that.
Mm-hmm.
And then you met this man that did this cave diving, and that was something that you really wanted to pursue.
Right, absolutely. Yeah.
So what kind of training was involved in going from scuba diving to cave diving?
Well, it's extensive training differentials because the environments in a cave, just like a dry cave above ground, you know, people call it spelunking. There is no natural light sources. These are caves. They're blocked off from natural light. Same deal underwater. These are just flooded rivers or sea levels risen in certain areas across the coastlines that fill these caves with water. Okay. So you require specialty equipment, underwater dive lights, double tanks, because when you're exploring these caves, you know, you're spending a lot more time underwater to get anywhere, because it takes time to enter these places, because a lot of them are constricted. You have to real tight spaces, and so you have a lot of additional training and safety measures and techniques and dive planning than you do other types of diving.
So it seems like there was a lot of preparation and education that you went through before.
Absolutely, absolutely. There's 3 courses that lead up to being a certified cave diver. First one is like a cavern course, which is a cavern is the entrance of the cave system, but you can still visually, when you're underwater, still visually see the natural light to the surface. So if you're in an out-of-air situation, you ran out of air, equipment malfunction, your cylinder, something happened, you can still reach the surface without a problem. Okay. Then you get into introduction to cave, where you only go a certain amount of distance into the cave, and then you learn the basic skills necessary to successfully dive in caves in a safe manner. And then you take it to the next level, which is a full outright cave dive certification, and it takes several months of training and lots of expensive equipment to do it properly and safely.
So it sounds like it's kind of a dangerous hobby as well.
Yeah, I think danger is a fair assumption. Challenging. I mean, it can be dangerous if you're untrained. So that's why the extensive focus on the training ahead of time, as well as the proper equipment.
So where do you do these dives?
Okay, most commonly in the U.S., the most common place in the United States is North Central Florida. There's a cave system, several cave systems throughout North Central Florida, about an hour from Pensacola, which is off the coast of the Panhandle. Okay. These cave systems are actually underwater rivers, which push out into the Suwannee River, which is a main river in that part of the state of Florida. And the water flow is extensive coming out of these rivers. The sediment, the rock formations, the colors and differences, things that you do not see in the ocean or in any other type of freshwater diving.
So have you ever done dives outside of the United States?
Absolutely, yeah. Mm-hmm.
And what was what was your favorite place that you went?
Well, I think I have a couple, but my favorite is probably Grand Caymans. Crystal clear blue waters, white sandy beaches, and but they're beautiful coral reef systems. The Cayman Islands, they spend a lot of time on their protecting their habitat from divers tearing up the reef systems, because you know, when people die, they kick these coral and they break them and they die. You know, so they spend a lot of time on. So it's kept in pristine condition. Their conservation is very excellent. So a lot of different types of species of fish and marine life you're able to experience. I've seen large sharks, fed stingrays by hand there, with squid, eels, humongous eels that you'll see, various different types of things. But it's my favorite, yeah.
Wow. So this particular hobby has taken you some pretty awesome places, then.
Absolutely, yeah. It's a place where I find peace, and I can see creation from a standpoint face to face that brings me a lot of joy and happiness.
So is there any particular time that you can remember that something went wrong?
Well, there's been several situations that have been stressful situations, but one occurrence is I was diving in Mexico, and when you dive out of country or around people that you're not familiar with, occasionally you have to be more careful. And we were on a night dive in a rough sea. Night diving, you have to use special equipment too. You need lights because there's no natural light, just like you do in cave diving. But the seas the current was real rough underwater. So normally when you do a boat dive in the ocean, you do a 2-tank dive. You dive your deepest dive first, and then your second dive in a shallower depth to prevent decompression sickness. Okay, and in the second dive, when we came up from the first, which was real neat, I saw some sharks and octopus and humongous parrotfish and various things, nocturnal of marine life. The boat hand, or the captain's mate, changes the gear out for the people on the dive. Okay, it changes your tank because you use that air. And then he changed mine over. I jumped back in, did the second dive. The cylinder was out of air. I got down about 15-20 feet and took that last breath of air in the regulator, and I realized that what had happened. So that was a near frightening experience, but I was trained enough to not panic, and I proceeded to ascend to the surface.
So when is the last time that you've gotten to go cave diving?
It's been about 1.5 years, 2 years now. I look forward to going real soon. I've been looking on the internet and checking out some videos, some old footage that friends of mine have put together as well. And it's something that's calling me again.
Awesome. Yeah. So it sounds like you took something scuba diving, which was a hobby of yours, and you turned it into this awesome passion that has taken you to different places in the world, and you've seen some pretty amazing things and had some scary moments as well. Yeah. Is this something that you think that you will continue to do for the rest of your life?
Yeah, I enjoy teaching it, sharing with children, teaching younger 10 to 12 teenagers to experience this sport and see the beauty of the creation underwater, and have an appreciation for it in a different way once you see it face to face. So it's always been, since I've been young, a passion of mine, and I guarantee it's going to continue.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate you again sitting and talking with me, and I learned a whole lot, and it was very interesting.
It's my pleasure.
Thanks.
Thanks, Leslie.